Find f of g of 4 and g of f of 4 for the given functions. Here we have f of x equals the square root of x, and g of x equals 9 minus x squared. Let's look at f of g of 4 first, and we're going to do the g first, and then we're going to do the f part second. G of 4 equals 9 minus 4 squared. So g of 4 is 9 minus 16, which of course is negative 7. Okay, that's g of 4. Now we're going to take this g of 4, which is negative 7, and then substitute it into the f of x. So basically it's going to be like f of negative 7 equals square root of negative 7. Of course, in the set of real numbers, the square root of negative 7 is undefined. And so we would actually say that this f of g of 4 is undefined. Now, some people, when they're doing composite functions like this, they like to figure out the whole function first. In other words, they would do f of g of x and then input the 4 into the whole thing. And you can do that. So I'll show you what that looks like. Since you're doing the g part first, the whole g of x would go inside this x here. So basically the 9 minus x squared will go under the square root. So that would be equals square root of 9 minus x squared. And you can do this in terms of calculating f of g of 4. If you'd rather write the function first, then just input the 4, you can do that. Or you can actually input the 4 into the g first, see what you get, and then input that into the f. Either way is fine. Now let's do g of f of 4. And since for the first example, what I did is I just did one input, then the other input, I'm going to make the composite function first. So that would be g of f x 9 minus the square root of x. And that is squared, because notice you have an x squared here. So the square root of x goes inside, and that's your f of g of x. So I would just leave it written this way, because if you simplify it, you can actually change the domain because of the square root saying you can't input negative numbers for x. So anyway, let's input the 4 here. So it's going to be 9 minus square root of 4 squared. And that'd be 9 minus, now the square root of 4 is 2, but you're squaring it again, so that makes 4. So basically 9 minus 4, which is 5. So that's your g of f of 4. Okay, so your f of g of 4 is undefined. G of f of 4 is 5.